to the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports. All things hockey, all the time. And now, here are your hosts, two washed-up beer leaguers who have no idea what they're talking about, Zach Martin and Alex Nuttall.
What's going on, guys? It is the Blue Jackets segment of the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports and sponsored by Pure Hockey Spy Optic and Romeo's Pizza. I'm Alex. That is Zach. Zach, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Excited to talk about the Jackets and, see how you guys have been for the last, week and stuff like that, and just do some general hockey talk. So I'm ready to jump in, man.
Right on. So lately, the Blue Jackets, we just finished a 4-game stretch against Carolina.
Oof.
Surprisingly, we came out with 5 of 8 points.
I mean, yeah, because we talked, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, and we thought, man, if they don't win at least like 1 or 2 of those games, you guys would be looking at you even said they might lose all 4 of those games.
Yeah,
so.
I absolutely did, especially with the games against Florida and Dallas. There was a very good chance that we could have lost a lot of games. And, we did pretty good. Granted, we lost both against Florida at that point, and we split with Dallas. But the first 2 games in Carolina, which we had talked about in previous episodes, Carolina is very good at home. And then we go and win both of the games at home. Now, we won the first game 3-2 in overtime. And then we won the second game 3-2 in a shootout. Okay. So our overtime win, ironically, was the first overtime win of the season the second overtime win of the season for the Blue Jackets.
Oh, geez.
And then we won the second one in a shootout. The game on Monday, we lost 3-0. The Blue Jackets looked absolutely terrible. They looked so bad on so many different levels. It was embarrassing. The game last night, I was actually at, and they didn't deserve to go to overtime at all. They looked terrible.
How were the suite seats? Because I heard you got some nice seats that night.
Yeah, well, we go up, and my company. They gave us the tickets. They have like 4 suites in a row. And, with all the COVID protocols, there's only supposed to be a maximum of 10 people in a suite. Yeah. Well, everybody decided to go to one suite, and it was the first date night my wife and I had in over a year. So we're like, okay, I'll take a suite all to ourselves, because we had one suite. So the suite we were in, and then there are 2 suites to the right. And then on the other side of those was the executive suite. All the players on the taxi squad were sitting in. So Alexander Texier was there, Emil Bemstrom, Gabriel Carlson was there, Zach Dalpe, Mikhail Grigorenko. All those guys are sitting down there, and I'm sitting there just like, hi, hey, hi. And so I was sitting there like waving back and forth to Alexander Texier. I was wearing his reverse retro jersey that I had, and it was hilarious. It was really cool seeing those guys, hanging out 30 feet away from us, watching the game.
That's pretty dope.
But still, so going back to the game, it was okay. It wasn't great by any means. Yeah. The problem is every single one of their goals last night were, I don't want to say a fluke, but that's what I'm going to say, is soft. They shouldn't have happened. So the first goal,
they're basically soft goals.
Absolutely. So the first goal was Zach Werenski. Just kind of like, he took a shot, it went off the backboards, and then he kind of like one hand shoved it towards the goalie, and it just happened to hop up, goes off the goalie's right shoulder, and just pops in behind him. I was like, okay, cool. We got a goal. Fine. You know what? That's fine. We get a goal.
Yeah.
Then Cam Atkinson takes a shot, and he rips it in front of the net. The actual shot, it was off by like 5 feet. But Dougie Hamilton is skating in front of the net, and it goes off his leg or his arm and goes right into the corner of the net. So that shouldn't have been a goal. And then we're down 3-2, and Oliver Bjorkstrand scores with 15 seconds left in the third period to tie it up. And it was like a Pavel Datsyuk flip. So he's right in front of the net, and there's a scramble in front of the net, and Bjorky just kind of like flips it up, and it seemed like it just floated by the goalie. Floated by. I think it was Nedeljkovic that was playing. It just floated by him, and everyone goes crazy. I'm like, oh, sweet. Then we get to overtime. So then at one point, the Blue Jackets had a couple of chances in overtime, but you get one chance and then you automatically give up an odd man rush the other way. Well, at one point, something happened and there was a breakaway, and Jack Roslovic just seemed like he didn't feel like skating anymore. He just kind of was cruising down the ice, not trying. If I remember, it was Sebastian Aho.
Yeah.
And Corpy, it was Jonas Korpisalo was playing. He made a really good save. The problem is when he made the save, he fell so far out of the crease, and then the puck just gets tossed literally right in front of the net, and then they bury it with no one in front of the net at all to end the game.
Jeez.
There's something going on with the Blue Jackets, and what's so frustrating is I don't know what. You make these trades, you get Patrick Laine, and then you have Cam Atkinson, you have Oliver Bjorkstrand, you have Zach Werenski and Seth Jones, and then Vladislav Gavrikov, and you have these two outstanding goalies, and we still can't do anything right. It's
like you have a team that on paper everyone's like, oh, they're going to finish second or third in the division.
Yeah,
like you have a team that could easily, under a normal system that's not under I almost said Trotz because they're basically almost the same guy at some point. Like with you guys have a system, and for some reason it just doesn't work with this team.
No,
and that's the crazy part. Like if you were on a normal system with anyone else, like with any other coach, this team would easily be almost winning the division.
Yeah, and that's how
crazy it is.
That's what's frustrating about it, is because I think if we had more of an offensive structure behind what we do, I think we could be a very good team.
Yeah,
that's the problem, because I legitimately thought we would be in second place, maybe third place at the beginning of the season. But now I don't even see us make the playoffs.
Yeah, I picked you guys second. Like I picked you guys to finish behind Tampa and ahead of Carolina. And now it's like you said, we're worried about our two teams making the playoffs, and we're fighting each other for that last spot because Florida all of a sudden has come absolutely out of nowhere and look good. Now, if you say Florida was supposed to be the team that everyone thought they were going to be, where they're going to be like, okay, then you're talking about us fighting for the 3 spot. Yeah. And maybe having a bigger gap on fifth. Then it's like, all right, now we're worried about playing for the 3 seed because no one wants to play Tampa as the 4 seed because you're automatically might be in trouble.
Yeah, but
now
you have the Florida Blue Jackets coming out of nowhere, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, second in the they're battling Carolina and Tampa for the 1 spot in the division, and now you have a mad scramble for the 4 spot between the Jackets and the Hawks. And I know you were like thinking, there's no way the Hawks are going to do anything. You're thinking, oh, they're going to be fighting with Nashville or Dallas for the 4 spot. Or with the Jackets, you think they're going to be so far ahead of the 4 spot, it's not going to matter. Now you're like, geez, we might get bounced by a team that no one thought was going to make the playoffs in Florida and the Hawks. And that's just how wild this year has been. Yeah, and it's weird because we have the trade deadline coming up, and as we've mentioned before, there is actually an approval with the Canadian government. So NHL players no longer have to have a 14-day quarantine. It's only a 7. There's some other stipulations too. I think it's after 2 negative tests and a certain, a specific test that they have to take that comes back negative also. But still, it's with all of that and the trade deadline coming up, I'm at the point I legitimately have absolutely no idea what the Blue Jackets are going to do this year. I really don't. And I even tweeted this too after I heard about the like how they lessen the restriction on how long it's going to be. I'm like, there's going to be more trades now. Like you're going to see more trades with Canadian teams because the fact that you're talking about a week instead of 2 now, that really changes the whole complexion of what the potential trade deadline is going to be. Well, you sit there and you say that. Look what happened earlier today. Stahl gets traded from Buffalo to Montreal. Now it's automatic. It's a 7-day quarantine. He's going to be playing most likely before the trade deadline is even there. Yeah, exactly. And And the thing and I heard too that even Carolina was talking to Buffalo about possibly bringing Stahl back to Carolina, but Carolina wanted to wait closer to the trade deadline, and Buffalo's like, no, we're gonna make the move now, and that's why you see Stahl in Montreal instead of Carolina, because Buffalo's like, we're not going to wait until the trade deadline to make a move. If we're going to make a move, we're going to do it right now. We can get a third and a fifth back out of it, then we're going to go for it. So Eric Stahl could have been a Hurricane if Buffalo decided to wait. But yeah, it's now you're going to see teams make more trades with the Canadian teams now because you're talking 7 days.
Yeah,
that's huge.
And it's one of those things that, I've seen a lot of stuff in regards to the Blue Jackets. I've seen a lot of stuff with David Savard, being shopped, and Elvis Merzlikins, which I am not a fan of, by the way.
I would say I would honestly, I would pick Merzlikins over Corpy, honestly.
Well, so
that's still wild though. They're thinking about getting
you can see it from both sides. All right. So here's why I see it from both sides. All right. A team can go after Corpy because you have a lower salary cap hit. He's very consistent. And he is always going to be, he's a very good starter. He's also a very good backup, but he needs to be a starter. That could be a very good move for a team. For example, like Buffalo. Say if the Blue Jackets wanted to get wild and they wanted to go after a Jack Eichel move, Corpy could easily be a package in that.
Yeah.
But why you can go after Elvis, you can get more back for him. He had, in my opinion, he has a higher ceiling of talent than Corpy does. Now, Corpy's more consistent. Elvis is more flashy, and he's going to make more of the top 10 saves and things like that.
Yeah.
And, since they're going to ESPN, he's going to be on SportsCenter more. But it's one of those things that I can understand why somebody would want to go after both. Me personally, I don't want to get rid of Elvis. We had Bobrovsky for so long. We had that big name staple goalie. We need to keep that. And honestly, dude's name is freaking Elvis. Come on. If he's not playing in Vegas, he needs to stay here. If he
or Nashville.
No. If he's going to go anywhere, if he's going to go anywhere other than Columbus, it needs to be Vegas because it's Vegas. And the amount of billions and billions of dollars they could get off of his namesake from a marketing standpoint is unfathomable.
Oh,
but
for sure.
Still, back to the trades, there's a lot, there's even stuff about Nick Foligno. I know we had talked about this before, but about them having him waive his no trade clause to go somewhere else, make a run, and then come back in the offseason and sign a team-friendly deal and remain our captain.
That's easily doable. I mean, it makes sense to do that because it's almost like a 2-for-1. You're getting assets, but you're also bringing them back in the future. It's not like he's gone for good. It's just, hey, we'll see you back here in a couple months.
Like if it's one of those things that, hey, we know we're not going to make the playoffs, or we really don't think we're going to make the playoffs. Screw it. What's the worst thing that can happen? We could end up getting a player in return, and then he just comes back in the offseason. I'm not upset about that. Let the man have a chance at winning a Stanley Cup.
That's actually a smart move because now you're talking about, like you said, you're getting more assets and you're bringing the guy back.
Yeah, essentially we're getting a piece for free. It's like the trades that you see. Hey, Will, we're going to send you this guy for, a future consideration. Okay. And you never hear anything about that stuff. You never hear, what is that future consideration? That always means, hey, we don't want this guy, and straight up, we don't want anybody back. So here you go. Have fun.
Yeah.
So essentially you're getting 2 guys for free.
Basically, yeah.
And you're actually going to be saving money if you get him to come back on a team-friendly deal. He cannot come back at his $5.25 million salary cap.
No.
And expect us to be able to sign Patrick Laine and go after big name guys. We can't do that.
Right, exactly. It would make no sense to do that. So,
but we need help up the middle. That is one thing that, especially after losing Pierre-Luc Dubois. Now, granted, the situation, it was the right move at that point in time. But since we lost him, we need a center. We need help up the middle bad because we don't have anything. We have Boone Jenner, who is good at faceoffs, but he's a winger. And then you have Riley Nash. Okay, you have other guys that can play center. You have Max Domi that could play center, but he keeps being played on wing. Liam Foudy, not even in Columbus. Alexander Texier, sitting on the taxi squad. You have other guys that can play center. And right now, I've seen Patrick Laine take more faceoffs than Riley Nash.
Oh, jeez.
It's insane. And then Nick Foligno keeps getting thrown in there because we don't have anybody else to play center. That's why, you hear this stuff from a Blue Jacket standpoint. You hear these rumors about Jack Eichel wants to get traded. Dude, I'd be all over that. I would be all over that.
I don't anything that wouldn't be over that.
Like, you know what? If somebody told me, hey, we can get Jack Eichel, okay, we would need to trade Zach Werenski. All right, cool. See you, Zach. I love you, dude, but I'm sorry. We need a guy like this.
Yeah, it's like 2 first rounders, Korpisalo, and like some future stud prospect.
Like I would easily. So I can't remember what the asking price for Jack Eichel is. I know it's high, but I mean after the season it may have gone down a very, very small bit. But I think it was like 2 first round picks. It was a total of 4. I think it was 4 players or picks that are either in the first round or were drafted in the first round. So, that could be all right, well, we're going to give you a Zach Werenski, Jonas Korpisalo, 2 future first round picks, and then we'll throw in another, middle of the pack prospect to compensate for Corpy, because I don't think he was drafted in the first round either. I think he was like 3rd or 4th round. But it's one of those things that.
Well, they need a goalie, so they'll take that because they get a goalie out of the deal.
Exactly, and it's a good goalie too.
You don't even need to throw in a mid-range prospect because you're throwing in something on their trade block that they need.
Yeah,
where that can compensate that's a super need to we need a first guy who's possibly drafted in the first round, but it's like we're getting a sure goalie in Korpisalo who was 4th rounder, but the dude is good. Fine, that's perfect because that fills another need. So you don't need to throw in another prospect to compensate it because him alone being good at what pick he was and it's filling a need will compensate for itself.
Yeah.
So let's say 2 first rounders, Werenski and Corpy for Eichel. Who would say no to that?
I don't know.
Probably Buffalo.
Probably Buffalo. But you know what? Honestly, I think
Buffalo.
It's one of those situations where we need to do that. I guarantee you by the end of the year, well, let me rephrase that. By the end of the beginning of next season, one of our 2 goalies is going to be gone. So, we've got Jonas Korpisalo and Elvis Merzlikins right now. And then on the taxi squad, we have Cam Johnson. I'm not sure how good he is because I've never seen him play, but he is also 26, the same age as the other 2 guys. So that helps. Now, in Cleveland, we have Matisse Kivlenieks, and then our KHL stud goalie, Daniil Tarasov. His KHL season is done, and he is going to be in Cleveland probably by the end of this weekend when we're recording. And this kid is 21 years old and is one of the top goalie prospects outside of the NHL. He was the same thing as Elvis Merzlikins. I
don't know how you guys get all these amazing goaltenders. It's unreal.
It's Yarmo. The man
knows goalies. He's the goalie whisperer.
No, it's not that. He knows how to look outside of Canada to get prospects. He is fantastic at finding guys in the KHL, in the Swiss league, in the French leagues. Like we got Alexander Texier. I think there's a handful of French guys. Same thing, we have Matisse Kivlenieks and Elvis Merzlikins. There are only 3 players from Latvia in the NHL, and we have 2 of them. I mean, you
look at the Blackhawks. I mean, we got Suter and Kurashev. Both dudes played in the Swiss league, and they're absolutely destroying right now for us. And you got Kubalik out of the Czech Republic. I mean, you can find guys out. You can find guys in Europe, and the fact that the kid we drafted out of Germany, I forget his name now, but he played on the Ice Barons. Dude is supposed to be a stud for us in the future. Yep. Like you go find guys in the DEL out of the German league, which is very underrated in my opinion. Yeah, the Swiss league, Swedish league, Finland, stuff like that. You can find guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
hey, if you want to throw us, one of your goalies, we'll gladly take one of them because right now it's like I would rather take one of your guys and have Subban on our team still, to be honest.
All right, Daniil Tarasov or Patrick Kane? Just kidding. No, but like
you would have to give him like half your roster to get Patrick Kane.
we wouldn't want Patrick Kane because we wouldn't be able to afford anything else.
Yeah,
at this point.
because like said no one ever. We don't need Patrick Kane. Said nobody ever.
But it's one of those things. Like,
yeah,
I'm excited to see. I've been following Tarasov for a couple of years now, and I am very excited to see him come over because going back the last couple seasons, he's got his save percentages 909, 925, 923, 923, 899, 915, 928, 928, 946. Like, it's insane. This kid is.
I mean that's really good. So what did you say for what you're saying right now for your team? Are you looking more of you need more a center more than anyone else?
Absolutely.
Are you maybe looking at defense? Like what position is?
I don't think my opinion, defense is not what we need at all because, so currently on the roster, we've got Seth Jones, Zach Werenski, and then you got Savard, Gavrikov, Dane Cook, and Scott Harrington, Gabriel Carlson, and Michael Del Zotto.
So basically, you guys need a number one center.
100%. I don't remember the last time we had a number one center.
Well, here's my next question though. Do you think Jarmo is going to make a move for a number one center when you guys are right now on the bubble of maybe even making the playoffs? Like, do you think Jarmo is going to make a move to get you guys into the playoffs
during the season? No, I don't.
Like, do you see you guys making a splash at all in the trade deadline, or is it more of you're just going to sell? Are you going to go get draft capital?
Maybe
see what next year comes as.
I could possibly see us making a splash from a selling standpoint. For example, David Savard, I honestly don't see him being with us because I see him being traded to a team, probably a Canadian team. I've seen a lot of stuff that Winnipeg is interested in him. He's a good rental defenseman. He is very good as a rental defenseman. And honestly, Del Zotto would be too. But my opinion, the Blue Jackets need to re-sign Del Zotto. There are so many people on Twitter that disagree with me, and I couldn't care less. Why somebody wants David Savard, who's going to dump the puck literally every time he hits the red line. I don't want that. I'm sorry. He's a great shot blocker.
Yeah.
But the Blue Jackets have had this defensive structure for however long. Okay. Yes, we made it to the playoffs a couple years in a row. Great. What have we accomplished? Absolutely nothing. We swept Tampa. Whoop-de-doo. Was that awesome? Absolutely. That was so much fun to be at. But we don't have a banner. We don't have a trophy. We don't have a cup for that. Nothing. So it's something's not working. Change it up. Get rid of him. I'm sorry. $4.25 million for nothing. He's just blocking shots. We don't need that. He is the oldest guy on our defense. Get rid of him. Get a couple draft picks for him. Prepare for a big move in the offseason. You could trade Savard for probably a second and a fifth or a third and a fifth.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's 2 more picks to use in a big package to get somebody if we really wanted to. Do I see the Blue Jackets making a move during the season? In one situation only. And that would be the Blue Jackets winning their next probably 4 or 5 games in a row.
Right.
The problem with that is we have a back-to-back this weekend with Detroit. Then we play Tampa. Okay.
Oof.
We're in Tampa for 2 games. Then we play Florida in Florida. Then guess what? We play Tampa again for 2 more games. I don't see that happening. I'm sorry.
Honestly, your stretch that you guys are in right now with how many times you have to play Florida and Tampa?
It's 6 in a row, and then we play Chicago. But here's the thing. If we can split that entire 6-game set between Tampa and Florida, I feel good about our chances because moving to the rest of the season, we have Chicago for 2 games, Dallas for 2, Florida and Tampa again. Then we have Detroit, 1 against Carolina. And then our final 4 games are 2 against Nashville and 2 against Detroit, all at home. So if we can make the progress that we need now, I think that could be good for us towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Really big for us.
Yeah, it's going to be you guys are like us in a weird spot of like, do you want to make a push or not? And it really depends on if it's going to be worthwhile doing. And that's one of the weird spots of being a team that's around the 4 spot, because either way, you're looking at playing Tampa in the first round.
Yeah. And I think the big problem with us is you have all of this. All of this is compiled on top of the situation with Torts. Is he going to be here next year? Is he going to get fired? Are they going to re-sign him? Nobody has any idea.
Yeah, I see you guys are almost in a worse spot than we are in terms of we know who our coach is. We know who our GM is. We got guys coming back. It's just like, do we go and get someone, or do we wait and go get guys to extend in the offseason and go pick up a free agency? Where you guys, it's like, well, you don't even know if you have your head coach. And like you said, you're playing for a 4 spot at this point. You're not playing for a 3 seed or a deep playoff run. You got to hope just to make the playoffs, and then you might have to go through Tampa.
Well, and it's one of those things between our two teams. We're kind of in the same situation, but there's different stipulations for both teams. You know, you guys, it's more of a waiting game. You have Kirby Doc that's about to come back, and then you have Jonathan Toews who may come back, and then you have Andrew Shaw who hopefully can continue playing, and then you have this other stuff that it's more of a waiting game. With us, it's how do you want to design the future? Because, for example, if they keep Torts, there's no way other guys are going to want to come to Columbus because they're not going to want to play in a defensive structure. But at the same time, if we don't know who the coach is going to be next year, and you don't know what kind of a system they're going to want to have, you don't know how you want to build your team at all.
Yeah, what's the point of going to go get rental players if your system might not even change or how it's going to be for the next year? Now for you guys, you know what's going to happen, because like the whole system can change, and you're going to want certain guys and stuff like that. And why go rent players and just fall short of making the playoffs? Then it's like, okay, well, you gave up draft capital or you gave up assets for absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think, do I want to see us make the playoffs? Yes. But I'm at the point, we're not going to do anything in the playoffs this year unless they, if Jarmo has the massive balls that he's had over the last 4 years, maybe he could be like, you know what? Screw it. Let's go for Jack Eichel and Taylor Hall, and let's get these guys that, let's get some rentals and huge name players and try and make a real good push. Do I think that's a smart idea this year? No, I don't. Because, the rental part isn't bad, but it's getting rid of those draft picks that we could use later on that we don't want to do, because you don't want to sit there and go, hey, we're going to go after Taylor Hall. Hey, here's a 1st round draft pick. And then you hit the offseason and he's like, all right, peace out. I'm going to go sign in Nashville or Florida or something. Like, you don't really want to take that risk at this point. And I don't think the Blue Jackets need to take the risk. No. I think they just need to kind of check their ego, take the L for the season, and start preparing for next year. That's all you can do.
Yeah. It's just, like I said, it's just now if we talk now, if Florida wasn't Florida, and you're talking about, let's just say the Blackhawks still had a good season, but you have now Florida not being the Florida that they are, then it's a whole different ballgame, because now it's like, okay, now we're fighting for a 3 spot between if we're fighting for a 3 spot, completely different discussion, because now it's like, okay, now we need to go get guys, because if we're playing Carolina, who's the 2 seed, well, heck, we've beaten Carolina before. We can get past them and possibly go play Tampa in the division semifinal.
Well, it's frustrating because Florida is the key this year. Look at it, they are the key to the Central Division, because, as you said, if they were their normal spot of 6th or 7th place, right now the Blackhawks and the Blue Jackets most likely would be in the 3rd and 4th spot. So it's more of you guys would be able to be a little bit more comfortable and kind of make more of a decision of, hey, we want to try and get somebody for this playoff push, compared to now it's, hey, do we want to waste the time doing that if we're probably going to lose anyways?
Yeah, because it's almost like the bubble situation again, where we had Corey Crawford play in a spot where it's like, okay, we might get past Edmonton, but then it's like, what are we going to do in the 1st round of the normal playoffs? Or do you want to go and tank and just hopefully go get that lottery pick?
Yeah.
We end up and beat Edmonton. We don't get the lottery pick. Now we're like 13, but then we don't bring Crawford back. So we kind of wasted not having one of our younger guys start in his spot instead in the playoff and see what we could got out of that and go potentially go get a lottery pick. Now it's like, do we want to go make a move for a potential rental that may or may not work? Because now you got to go through Tampa, and it's shown through the year that we can maybe beat Tampa. We've beaten them, but it's like they've beaten us more than we've beaten them. And usually when we play them, our brakes get blown off. So it's like, do you want to, like you said, do you want to waste that time going to get a rental that may or may not work? Now, if, like you said, this is a normal, we're going for a 3 seed, totally different story. Then you're like, yeah, we got to make a push, because if we can get that 3 seed and go get past Carolina, then you might have a shot playing Tampa, because you just knocked out Carolina and you have the momentum to go play Tampa. But now, like, you're playing Tampa round 1, you might be in trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a weird spot. It's like, do you want to go fight for that? I mean, yeah, you want to go for the cup, but at the same time, you got to be realistic about it. It's like you're playing Tampa,
Yeah.
and you're in the 30s in the points, where Tampa's looking at possibly 50 or 60.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's tough. That's a tough situation to be in.
It is. 'Tis a conundrum. That is for sure.
For sure.
But I think that's going to wrap up our Blue Jackets segment. Again, we appreciate you guys listening. Thanks for checking in to the new format. Again, let us know if you guys like it. Hit us up on Twitter at CannonHawksPod. Hit our DMs. You could email us at cannonstomahawks@bellyupsports.com. Comes directly to us. We'll take it. All anonymous, obviously. If you don't want to, fine. If you want to be a clown like Chad from the Garage Beers podcast, that's fine. But honestly, we're trying this out. We're seeing how you guys like it. Please, please, please let us know how you like it. If you have any other ideas, let us know. We love talking hockey. All it is just a couple cuts and edits for a different style. That is not a big deal for us. So just let us know. We'll get it taken care of. No big deal. But as always, you guys can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please go subscribe to our YouTube. We really want more traction on our YouTube at Cannons and Tomahawks Podcast. Go to our Twitter bio, click the link tree. You can find our links to all of our social media platforms, all of our sponsors. You can also find the link to bellyupsports.com, which pay attention to, because it is going to be getting a facelift in the near future. It's going to be sweet. So check it out. But until next time, guys, as always, here at Cannons and Tomahawks Podcast, it is all about beer, food, and hockey. Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Cannons and Tomahawks Podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports. Beer, food, and hockey.